Welcome.
Welcome.
How are you, man?
I'm good.
Good to see you. I'm good.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hello, all y'all up in there in the Twitter sphere and the internets and stuff like that.
Thank you.
Yeah, welcome. Thank you all for being here today. Thank you for braving the weather.
Jamie, you know there's no such thing as Twitter anymore. You might as well say AOL.
Twitter.
LOL. I just learned that.
Shout out to people who still have Hotmail.
My Atari still blinks to life. So, good morning. My name's Jamie. I'm here. I get to represent the leadership team with y'all today, and we got a great action-packed, great people to hear from today. And even though it's a little bit gloomy outside, we always have an excuse. We can always click on that, and we can always blame it on the rain. So we've got a built-in excuse all day. So if stuff doesn't work out for you, things get a little clunky, just blame it on the rain. Because you all know we all look for excuses. We all look for excuses. Girl, you know it's true.
Oh my.
All right. You know what else is true? The Y4C2Ts for Keller Williams. This is the belief system right here, and it's not fake. Like Millie and Vanilli. I don't know if that's a spoiler for
Everyone is
you.
doing it now.
However, that's a win-win or no deal. Integrity, do the right thing. Customers always come first. Commitment in all things. Communication, seek first to understand. Creativity, ideas before results. Teamwork, together everyone achieves more. Trust starts with honesty, equity, opportunities for all. Success through people, which we will be learning about more so today with the panel. And let's give it up for Vansh. Vansh was born in New Delhi and raised in, where is it, Richfield. And he just cooked some amazing food that was really hard for us to smell and not eat. And he's been in the industry for 3 months and has already had a closing, had a 5-star review from that closing, and has another closing coming up. So that's how he earned it and is with the HerCamp home group. So if you know somebody who's really kicking it out or hitting it out of the park, kicking it out of the park, if you really know they're kicking it out of the park, then I really want to know. The other thing with him too, he just fits right in. His spirit is just super uplifting, and it's fun to have him around. And we also have the say of the week. The perspective changer of the week is, what do you understand? And this is a lot of jargon for really saying to avoid a peeing match. So this is to help you avoid a peeing match. So what do I mean by that? You have a buyer or a seller who just knows it all. You ever run into that? And then we know we know. Anyone run into that at home? I hope not. Otherwise you get some other examples. However, if they say this is certain, this is what I know, whatever it might be, whether it's price, the tip that is given is, what do you understand about the home buying and or selling process? What do you understand about the ways we determine to go to market price versus being a seller? I put versus a seller because I like that little sass at the end like that. And what do you understand about the pitfalls of working with a discount broker? So now, again, it's what do you understand? It's coming from curiosity. It's not what do you understand, right? Although that would be fun to watch if you're going to do that, so let me know. And speaking of number one in our hearts, thanks, come on up, Toddy. You're beautiful and wonderful.
Yeah, thank you. I know. Okay, I'm here to talk about all the fun things, as usual.
Oh,
So,
you Steve?
yeah, that's right. Steve is not up here on a slide, but we can work on that. Okay, the Red Group is doing a lunch and learn with Tony on VA loans on July 17th at 12 p.m. So if you would like to come to that, if you have any questions, If you've been curious about anything to do with this, you should come and you should sign up. So there's a QR code to sign up. All this stuff is also on Facebook, so after team meeting, if you need to sign up, you can find it there. We have the Bigger Goals, Bigger Paychecks on Thursday, July 17th from 6 to 7, here at Kids.
Jason, how many people are signed up?
Just shy of 20, and if you guys can throw a couple more bones in the way, we get 20 people here at this meeting this week.
Yeah, that would be crazy.
Outstanding.
That would be awesome. Okay, list to last is the day before all of that fun stuff that's happening. So you should come to that because it's Gary and Jason Abrams, and they are just full of knowledge all the time. So things that you are going to learn how to do are sign more buyers and seller agreements, overcome the myths that hold people back, deliver compelling presentations for both buyers and sellers, and build trust through strategic questions and storytelling. And I don't know who's better to learn from than those two. Yes, Jason?
When you say the day before all that, can you just substitute today for those same words?
Yeah,
Okay, thanks.
yeah, you're welcome.
Today.
Yep, this is happening today.
This is the 16th.
Yesterday's tomorrow.
I thought this was like in a week, sorry.
Now, that's why we're just gonna slip in today,
Yeah, thank you.
this
Yeah.
afternoon.
Today, yeah. Okay, so tomorrow, Chad Sklazacek is teaching on the guide to measure homes. And if there's anybody that should be teaching on how to measure homes, it should be Chad, because he is really, really good at it. He's so good at it that I don't even know what he's saying, but I know it's important and I know he's really good at it. And I'm gonna come because I wanna know. And he is full of knowledge in many ways, and we're lucky to have him teaching tomorrow from 11 to 12. So make sure you're here for that. Okay, team meeting. There's no team meeting next Wednesday. And do you know how many Wednesdays there are in July? And how many team meetings do we have a month?
4.
And what team meeting, or what Wednesday do we not have a team meeting?
5.
Okay, well this month, we have a team meeting on the 5th Wednesday of the month. So yes, please come on July 30th. Next week, your leadership team will be at the regional meeting with our lovely regional director Olivia. So she told us we have to be there, so we're going. And so please come on July 30th because there will be a team meeting on that day.
And a panel, another panel. And this panel will be with Candace, let's see, Michelle and Caitlin Ball from HHG. They went to a Glover U event and they're going to share their notes.
Oh, nice. That's cool. Then we have our Tech Savvy Realtor happening on July 24th. That is next Thursday
That's
at
Jason.
10 a.m. Yeah, did I say that?
No, Jason.
Oh, okay, yeah. Database Detox Edition. So I'm guessing that you're gonna learn how to clean that up.
Oh.
Which from a lot of things that I've heard, many you should be here for that. Okay, then we have Quantum Leap happening Thursday, July 24th. That is next Thursday at Maple Grove. And we've seen a lot of things about them and a lot of videos about them. And if you haven't gotten the message, you should go and you should sign up, and here it is. So scan that QR code and go, because it's going to launch you into a better self so that you can be better at many things in your life. Dominate the second half of 2025. It's okay. Is happening on Friday, July 25th from 1 to 2. This is, the market shift is giving you a unique opportunity to re-engage and position yourself for massive success through the effective use of social media. Who doesn't love social media? Clearly Ryan and Grace do, because did you see that reel? Ooh. Yeah, okay, so that's happening. Then we're having an AI class for realtors. This is happening on July 29th at 9:30. Olivia is bringing this person in. I think it's really funny because the email, she was so smart. The email nudged her because we didn't get a response from this guy right away. He did get back to us, he's great. But she replied and said, hey, AI is telling me that I should, get on your case because you haven't replied. So it was just really funny. Anyway, he's gonna be here. And then we won a coaching call with Mo Anderson, and she wrote us that awesome note. And that is happening on July 29th at 3 p.m. in the training room. This is going to be a great Zoom with Mo. She's just so wonderful, and I can't wait to say thank you again for her writing us a note, because we raised over $888. And last but definitely not least, who's going to the luau? Is it?
The right answer is that, right?
Everybody's going to the loo, all right? Okay, Brian, good. Okay, well, I know you all meant to put your hands in the air. But that is happening on August 21st from 4 to 7. This year, it's gonna be a little bit different than it was last year. It's at Lakefront Park Pavilion. Gus will be there, so that will be good. And he's gonna be in a better mood about it than he was in the video. And we are gonna do agent voted awards. And so you will be getting an email by the end of this week, or sorry, beginning of next week, with awards to vote on. It also has been posted in the Facebook group. We are doing something new this year. It's called the Varsity Award. And we're doing a little spin off of what we used to do, the Spirit Award. But this is gonna be an all-encompassing Spirit Award called Varsity Award. And it's going to be voted on by the people of our Market Center leadership. It has nothing to do with it. You'll be voted on by the agents in your office. And so it's gonna be really fun. We're gonna have Powhana catered. We're doing games, best dress contest. There's gonna be some beverages there of all kinds. And yeah, yard games, all that kind of stuff. So it's gonna be a really great time. We hope that you come. This is something that is intended for you to be able to invite your family. If you have friends that are family, they can come. We just ask that you put your numbers in the sign-up sheet, which is below the agent voted awards that you vote. And attached is a roster so that you can see everybody that's in our office, so that you pick who you think is best for the award. If you do win an award, we will let you know that you won an award, and hopefully you'll be there. That's all I got.
We're encouraged to dress in this full.
Oh yes, Jamie's told me he's gonna wear a coconut bra.
Oh.
Full disclosure, I don't wait for these.
Thanks, and not
Steve, what do you mean you're gonna get most handsome? What are you talking about? Just kidding. Speaking of,
This is happening in 25, not in 17.
oh.
Oh, you were more handsome than 17.
I've heard people talking about how handsome you are. And speaking of that person who was speaking of you being so handsome, let's bring up Brian. Sunder! Sunder!
Do you know the DCC dance to that?
I don't,
The short answer is no.
But-
Otherwise
when we go to family
I won't do it today.
weddings, my brother and I, we request this and we're up there, son, there. Anyway.
Go to Jason's tech second class.
All right, so this used to be a half-hour presentation with the head of our condo department. It's just me and we're gonna do it in 5 minutes. And it might be something you wanna avoid completely because the condo and industry and the approvals have really taken it on the chin here. Insurance companies have been leaving the state, and so it's been a lot tougher to get these things through. So we're just gonna grind through some of these screens. Obviously, knowledge is power. There's some simple things you can send me, and I can send it to our condo department, and we can find out a lot of information about a specific association. We ourselves, again, have a specific condo department, and we've got a lot of projects that are already approved. So we know a lot about a lot of the projects that are out there already, so you don't have to reinvent the wheel. And by the way, email me, I can send you a copy of this because there's some things we'll go through fairly quickly. Some things that you're gonna wanna know, questions you're gonna wanna ask if you're even gonna wanna dig into this. With somebody who's selling or buying, pending litigation, things about the budget, do they have reserves? If somebody owns 20 to 25% of all the units in the association, that'd be an issue. If there's more than 20 units, if there's less than 20 units, then somebody even just owning 2 of the 20, it could be a concern. Special assessments, insurance, and what kind of insurance, which we'll talk about a little bit. and mechanical or other inspections that have already been done in the last 3 years. One of the big things that has happened is that a lot of companies pulled out because of replacement value on the roofs. And the pain points and its insurance. Costs have gone up, and so huge deductibles. Companies didn't want to pay for replacing a 15-year-old roof. And a lot of houses are the same thing. People are just getting free roofs. Not free, there's damage, but it just was too expensive for the insurance companies. So they've switched, either they left, we're not doing it anymore, we're out of Minnesota, or they switched to the actual value of the roof. So a 20-year-old roof is worth a lot less, they're gonna pay out a lot less than a 2-year-old roof, all right? So one thing that Freddie Mac will still do with an actual cash value, let's say it's a 10-year-old roof. Well, that is worth a lot less. And if the insurance coverage says actual cash value 10, meaning 10 years, if we'll send something to the management company, if all the roofs are less than 10 years old, it can still be done. If there's 10 buildings, a big complex, 10 buildings, and all the roofs were done 2 years ago, except for one was done 15 years ago, toast. All right, so it really makes it tough, but there's a lot of things to check into as far as the insurance is concerned. Dealing with one right now, FHA, you go to the website, it's approved. But as of June 1st, their association changed it. Yeah, it's too expensive for full replacement coverage. We're gonna switch to actual cash value. Now nobody can sell, or nobody can get financing for them to sell. And so even though FHA says it's approved, it's gonna fail, and it's gonna have to sell for cash, probably. You don't even have special programs, in-house stuff to do that, to cover it. Nobody's doing it. Pain points for, okay, I kind of touched on it, FHA. We can do spot approvals, all right? They're still gonna have those insurance issues, but if nobody's looked at it, or on the FHA website it says that it expired, or it failed because of some reason, we can do a spot approval. Things that we're gonna wanna know about are critical repairs versus just regular repairs. Critical repairs, anything mold, major water intrusion, major damage from leaks, other material deficiencies, and then there's routine repairs, which are typically okay. They're replacing all the screened-in porches on this side of the building, and they're gonna move to V-screen. And it's all torn up, that's okay, because it's part of the regular maintenance that the association is doing. Special assessments, we need to look into them. They can sometimes be okay, there's ways to handle that. I've got really, again, you can email me, I can send this to you, but VA. The VA will do all these issues that we're talking about. Then again, the gal, I was just talking to her again today, she's the head of our condo department. The VA wants to help veterans. If a veteran writes a letter, says that condo is 2 blocks from my work, and my mom is in a different unit there, and she needs help, insurance issues, whatever, the VA, she said, 99% of the time, the VA will sign off on it. So, just FYI.
I've never had the VA turn down a veteran request.
Yep.
They qualify, they'll get approved.
So that was a new one for me, I had never heard that, and she's like 99% of the time, they'll, I don't know, wow. All right.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you. And I just wanted to remind us about one of the things. I think this time of year, it's important to just consider resetting, when you set the goals at the beginning of the year, things have changed, life happens. I just encourage you to reset you recall, we went over the whole reset procedure. And if you want to do a deeper dive, actually, Jay Papasan did this on his most recent podcast of The One Thing. So the One Thing podcast is another one to have available. It's pretty impressive what he goes through and how he handles helping people do a reset. And speaking of reset, we also remember an Olivia update. She reset her Poop There It Is business. And her business is booming. And speaking of her, we have a new segment. Oop, there we go. Where in the world is?
Where in the world is?
So, where in the world is she? She's in Jackson Hole this week. She is up there for KW Luxury and for the region and helping them grow their businesses. And it was kind of embarrassing because she assumed that the ski resorts were open. So she was all dressed and ready to go. And she's been there for 3 days and I got a text from her that says, I still haven't found the hole.
All right, find Jackson.
She called Jackson, she's got that far, the city, so. Sorry. All right, well, let's move on, let's go what we're all are most excited to hear from. Let's bring up our panelists, come on up.
Come on down.
Look at the new format, what do we think? Look at
Are we
that.
stepping it up? We're getting there.
Nice work, Grace. Nice work, Grace.
We can build them a little platform stage so they sit higher.
Yeah, this has been the trick, and when we have our new space in here, we will definitely have that taken care of.
We were actually thinking maybe people could sit closer and stop being afraid.
Ooh, wow. 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 All right. Well, let's start with Sarah. Sarah, who the heck are you? How long have you been doing this?
Sarah Anderson, 10 years this month,
Woo!
licensed and with this office.
Thanks. Right, Bryce has a great idea, but it's not plugged in.
It's for love sprays.
That's so funny.
That's all right.
And Michelle, who are you?
I am Michelle Hoagland and I have been in business for 24 years and I believe it's been 21 here at this office. Josh Lake, I've been doing this for almost 6 years, maybe 6 years in October, and I've been here for a year in October.
Bryce Schinke, I got licensed in 2018 and coming up on a year at KWPR in October. I can't believe it's almost been a year already.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Thank you all so much. How did, this came about from Mega Agent Mastermind and the conversation. CC helped us actually bring the conversation to talking about leverage and assistance, and the people in the group were just at all different levels of hiring people, and whether you're thinking of hiring someone or not, it brings up different conversations within the conversation that gives you insight into these people that are great businesses. So let's start with you, Sarah. So when did you first go down the I am hiring opportunity?
I hired Stacy, who's now been with me for 5.5 years, which answers the question. She started beginning of January 2020. So I started the process I probably started getting serious about it mid-2019. And then actually started putting ads out there and doing interviews and everything that fall.
what made you go take that leap? Made you take it?
For me, it was a little different than maybe a couple of the other stories here. I was currently the PC here and was watching the PC part was going well, but my actual real estate business was going down, and I did not like that at all. So at the time, I made a hire thinking I need somebody who can help me keep the real estate stuff going. And then after I hired her and she came on, I realized very quickly that my passion was my real estate business, and so I stepped out of the PC. Yeah. So for me, I was doing probably on my own 35, 36 transactions up until I got to 2019, and then as PC, I was doing significantly less than that. And just realized that I was like, that's not what I wanted the trend to be. Does that make sense?
Thank you. Michelle, how about your first
Well,
dive?
I started my team, I believe it's about 11 years ago. And at that time, then we brought in a part-time person as an admin. That I quickly found that wasn't enough for us, and so I did my first full-time hire, and that was a huge jump for me. Because at that time we only had maybe I think it was my husband and then one other agent, buyer agent at the time. But it really was what I needed to do, and then over the time we have now gone and hired another person that brought us to the next level, and then now Jody has brought us to the additional level. So every time it seems like we've gone like this, you know, as far as talent and what people do and what they bring to the table. So it's been a great experience.
Why 10 years? Why'd you wait 10 years?
You know, fear. It was fear. You know, and it wasn't as big of a thing at that when I first started. Teams weren't that prominent. Then as things started going along at one of the family reunions, of course I made the mistake of bringing my husband with to the reunion. And he got so excited and he's like, "We're gonna do this!" I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And he kind of was because he's always been he's the big dreamer, I'm the get it done kind of person, and he's like, "We can do this," and I'm like, "You're nuts." But it's been the best thing that ever happened, so.
I can't wait to see Gary. So fear. Jody doesn't look all that scary, to be frank.
No, Jody's
She's
not.
like the opposite.
No,
She's the opposite.
she's like the best.
Thank you. How about you, Jen?
I am just getting started in the process of hiring, so I'm the newbie here, and yeah, I'm doing it because I got pressure from all these. Let's do it. So yeah, I'm very new. We just did our first interview yesterday, and just really starting the process. So that's great.
It's a big step. It's wonderful.
I hired somebody right into 2020. So my first full year in real estate was 2019, and I did 38 transactions in my first full year. And I looked at it and I'm like, there's no way I can keep this type of volume up without hiring somebody. So initially, I just looked at it as more of a transaction coordinator role where I just needed help with the transaction side of things. And then I quickly realized in 2020, going into 2021, and the boom of COVID, that I needed way more help than just transaction help. So I kind of hired somebody. It was more of like a 1099 situation where I kind of paid them, you know, based on help with a transaction or like a la carte where they just did certain things that I needed them to help with. And then as I made the switch to KW, I realized that I had zero system in place surrounding it. And MREA kind of really opened my eyes to, I really could be doing a whole lot more in my business if I just bit the bullet and actually hired an employee where I'm giving them a salary and I'm making them an employee and doing way more than I've ever had somebody do in the past to kind of bring the business to where I needed it to be. So I have somebody starting full-time in a couple of weeks. So they accepted their job offer and we're gonna get the ball rolling on that, so. Yeah.
Very nice. That's awesome. Okay, so Sarah, do you recall, it's been over 5 years now. Do you recall, what did you first delegate? What was most important to you to have her start with?
Well, before I hired Stacy, I did have like a transaction coordinator that it wasn't my staff that I was using, and so that was the first thing that I leveraged was the TC part. And then bringing Stacy on, she took on TC, but then I would say marketing, but really the biggest piece she took off my plate was the bulk of our 36 touch and just getting the systems in place to automate that as much as possible. I'm still the one that is personally reaching out to our clients, but everything else is a kind of a part of what she's doing. And then so those were the two big things. I literally forwarded her a very messy Excel spreadsheet and gave her like a pile of Post-it notes when she joined. And I was like, do something with all of this. And she did. She did. She turned it into our CRM, and now we, have an amazing system to stay in front of people on a regular basis. So that's not my forte. You can go look at my desk right now. It's full of little notes and little things, and she's just very good at turning that into something manageable.
That's your working database.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Nice.
She does a lot more than that, but that's
Yes.
where we started.
That's where you
Those were the
started.
two things that I needed off my plate.
Sure. How about you, Michelle? What was the
Pretty much the same as Sarah, pretty much. My second, really the first admin was a good starter point, but I would say we didn't have it all together. So then when Susan, my other second full-time admin started, she really took the 36 touch and did the systems, figured out schedules, all of that kind of thing. And also she did take on a lot of the transaction coordinator type of stuff too. So those were the biggest things that was a big part of. But another key element was I am not a person who likes to talk about myself. And I don't like to brag about things. I don't like to post things about myself on social media. So it was very hard for me to show my successes or things like that because I didn't want people to think that I was bragging. And so it was actually a very big part of our admin job was all of a sudden for her to start talking about what we were doing, and this is what our team was doing, and this is all the successes that we were having. So that was a big part of a shift for me and my business because I don't want people thinking I'm talking about myself. So it was easier for me to say, oh, my admin does that, and I don't have to say it's me. So,
But that's all changed now, I hear you blabbing. It's all right, we still love you. So Jen, what are you most excited to start with?
A big thing for me is marketing, follow-up, working on like the 36 touch. Marketing is just gonna be like a huge part of my person's job, yeah. And organizing, systematizing my everything, my listings, and just really putting systems in place so that it's, yeah.
How about you, Bryce?
Everything.
Yeah.
Basically, what I mean by that is anything that's not like client facing. So my goal is to be in front of people. So whether it's my clients, prospects, leads, whatever it might be, to be able to free me up to have more time to be more client facing or in front of people. So everything that's kind of done behind the scenes, whether it's marketing, social media, sending mailers out, whatever it might be, that takes up a huge chunk of time, I wanna be able to give that to my admin and say, please do this so I can be at appointments and things like that.
I don't know about y'all, but when I got into the business, one of the things I was excited about was not having to be accountable to certain things. And then, so for me, one of the biggest concerns wasn't the hiring, like the money, was I had to suddenly be accountable to someone fully, like to the nth degree. So that was a big fear of mine, so I can relate to that. I don't know about you guys, what the biggest part of the fear was. How about you, Sarah, what the biggest one?
Well, the biggest fear was that I will have to pay this person. Like, that's the biggest fear. I mean, that's what holds every single person in here back from doing it. It will all be worth it in the end. I know that now, you know that now, but it's terrifying when you're at your stage. But yeah, one of the things I was gonna mention is a good hire does hold you accountable and pushes you to be better. And if that's not happening, then you might wanna reconsider. But Stacy, I've been really lucky, blessed with Stacy, where she just grew in the role. When she started off, she knew admin well, but she didn't know real estate. And she worked really, really hard to understand this industry as well as anybody in this room. And then she's grown in that role. So it's just been, she's expanded what she took on exponentially in the last 5 years. And a big part of that is like helping manage me. What do I need to be doing in order to keep things going? And that's huge. I know I need that. It's not always fun, but I know I need it.
Now, when you launched, let's stick here, if you don't mind, when you launched her, how did you do that process? Because you said she grew into the role and took things. How did you approach that?
Well, we did, in the beginning, we did a 30, 60, 90. So she had, so she was, I mean, at the time, there was like those command videos. I'm sure they're still out there somewhere, but she was watching so many command videos and learning command. We don't use command anymore, but that's really what launched us into using a CRM regularly. So that 30, 60, 90 was really just helping her, what systems was she gonna focus on creating and all of that. But then it really, I think as our team grew and our business grew, she took on all of the listing management and all of that marketing. She just kind of kept taking things on because, like you said, my job is getting in front of people and talking to people. And so the more that she can do behind the scenes and give our clients as smooth a transaction as possible, the better. So a lot of it she created and took on herself. It wasn't necessarily me saying, okay, now you do the listings. She was like, okay, now I have this all figured out. I've got these systems in place. Next, I'm gonna take on this next challenge. She's very good at that.
I just want to say, I think that's a really important thing too, because a lot of people don't hire too because they're so focused on wanting to make sure they do everything. They don't want to let that control go. And so I'm very much one of those people. I like to control everything when it comes to the transaction, when it comes to the client and all of it. And it was very eye-opening in my hiring process after I started here to be able to hire somebody that I can trust to be able to be creative and be able to kind of take things and create stuff. And so I think I found that person, but I think that's a really important piece of it too.
Absolutely.
Can I ask a question? So like logistically, how did you hired as subcontractors to start with and did like an hourly pay or how do you recommend like getting people started? I know we talked a little bit about this, but I think this is interesting.
I'll let Michelle answer this.
Well, when I first started, so I did do, hired them as a hourly pay. So they did according to whatever they, now it's pretty much it's still an hourly, but it's full-time. So,
so they're still subcontractors, but
correct.
they're
They're W-2 employees.
Okay.
Yep, and so they are employees, and so we have them on payroll and everything like that. And then I have a full-time person, which is Jody. She does majority of our stuff, and then I have a part-time person who does all of our events and marketing. So.
I jumped into full-time salary. So I was looking at doing part-time and hourly. And then in coaching and talking with Olivia, she just really challenged me to take the leap, because she said, you know you're gonna need it, just do it.
And I know you said that people, when you hire them full-time, they're more committed to your business and your success, and I just thought that was an interesting.
Yeah, that's something someone told me along the way, was if you hire part-time, you're never gonna be their priority. Because they're either gonna have another job or they have something else that's they're focused on. Full-time, Stacy is just as invested in the success of Cedar Haven as I am, and I don't ever question that.
Wow. I think it's important from a tax standpoint too. I'll tell you from my personal experience, I hired somebody part-time and paid them like almost like an independent contractor, like I'm contracting your services to do A, B, and C. And the biggest learning takeaway I got from that is when that person at one point where I was in my business and I was sharing that person with somebody, another agent, they decided to file unemployment, and the world came crashing down because when the state came knocking at the door and asking questions about, okay, what services does this person provide, how are they paid, so on and so forth, well then I'm owing back unemployment tax on this person because now the state classified them as an employee when I never intended for them to be an employee. So there was a lot of learning that happened with that whole process, and now I look back at it and say, gosh, I wish I just would have made them an employee in the first place, because it would have been cheaper all along, and it would have been more efficient all along if I would have did it that way instead of classifying them as, you know, a contracted employee or contractor. So,
Melanie?
They also have to, like with the independent contractor thing, like I owed a lot of Social Security last year when I had to pay in, so they would have had to pay that in as well too.
well, yeah, and the thing with independent contractor versus your employee is the fact that it depends on the services that they're providing, and depends on how they're being paid and so on and so forth. So after that whole fiasco happened, I didn't learn my lesson because I didn't know enough about it, so I continued a contractor relationship with another person where then I'm like, send me an invoice after this is completed. So then I was paying an invoice basically saying this person completed these services, and now I'm paying that invoice in order for it to make sense from a legality standpoint. And all along, you know, now that I'm hiring somebody, now I have workers' compensation insurance where, you know, that sounds scary, right? But at the end of the day, it's a policy that costs me $300 a year for an employee, you know? So the costs of hiring an employee aren't necessarily as high as you think they are when you start really looking into it and understanding what those costs look like.
Okay, and I need to ask this because I was a part of the conversation. I really want you guys to get into hiring the right person, the right fit, and when they're not a right fit, when you recognize that, when you make that transition to get that person out so that your business can continue and prosper. Talk about that.
How much time do we
have?
have?
Yeah, I know, because this is when the conversation was really good, and I just want you guys to share that. It's really important.
I think that's where having, well, first off, career visioning, going through that process. And if you don't know what career visioning is, it's the hiring process that at least Keller Williams uses, recommend. So when you get to the point you're considering a hire, definitely learn and use career visioning. So that's the starting point. But then that 30, 60, 90, in my mind, that 30, 60, 90 is a huge part of making sure this person is the right fit. And by that 90th day, you should see more business coming in, things running smoother, you should see a difference. And that's where I was saying, if you get to the end of that and that you're not seeing that, you're not feeling pushed, you're not seeing the improvement in your business and the way it runs, that's not the right person. It doesn't mean they're a bad person. It means they're not the right fit. And the sooner you let them go and hire the right person, the better. Because a wrong hire will hold you back, 100%.
I will just say, like, career visioning, 100%, like, you should take that class when it's available to you. But the great thing about KW is that all the resources are there, all of them. And now they've made it even easier that the career visioning things and everything that goes along with it is now on command. So any one of you can look up on the tab within command and look up what a 30, 60, 90-day plan looks like, what a job description looks like, everything you possibly could need to manage an employee that you're hiring is on command right now. And so as I'm formulating my 30, 60, 90, I'm pulling the template from command and I'm looking at, does it make sense for what I want my employee? And I can tweak it, so I can make changes to it, things like that. But it absolutely makes it 100% easier to hire somebody with the resources and the guides and the templates that KW has for that.
AI is super helpful too. I'm trying to get my job description, like a detailed job description written up, and just plug anything into AI and it's gonna be helpful.
At least it started.
But hiring the
Yeah.
hiring, to go back to the question, hiring the right person is absolutely crucial. When I did my job post, I probably had 40 applicants. Lots of great people that were in there. And it's like you're parsing through like all these different resumes and experiences and things like that. You're trying to figure out, okay, who am I going to interview? And when I do the phone interview, what am I looking for and things like that. It's overwhelming. I'm very blessed to have that many applicants that I was able to go through, first of all. And I used LinkedIn, so LinkedIn is a fantastic resource if you are looking to hire somebody, to be able to put that job post out and then boost it. Pay $50 to $100 and boost it, because most people don't pay that. And that's how I think I got 40 applicants, is because my job showed up higher, so then I got those people in there to be able to find the right candidate. And then I could go on for days about how career visioning was just instrumental in helping find that right candidate. Because I actually interviewed the person that I previously had used for my full-time job. I didn't just give it to them. I really fully invested in career visioning and looked at it and said, I want to follow this process to make sure I get the right person. And after I interviewed that person and almost took them towards the end of the process, I found out they weren't the right fit. And ultimately did not hire that person that I had been using for such a long period of time.
Wow. And that's an amazing, that is a tribute to career visioning.
Yeah,
what you learned.
100%.
The other thing I'd like to say is, when you're hiring someone, someone along the lines, probably Olivia, but someone told me you create your, not to-do list. That's creating the job description. And you have to think about things, not only that you don't like to do, but the things you're not good at doing. Like, I like to create an open house flyer. I'm not good at it. Stacy's a million times better. So you're thinking about, those things. But most importantly, you're not hiring yourself. You're not hiring someone like you. You need to be hiring someone who is different, and they're gonna have different talents and different skills that you don't have. When I was first thinking about hiring my sister, who I love, and she's my best friend, she was like, I could be your assistant. And there was like this split second where I thought, oh, that would be so fun. And then when I really thought about it, I was like, oh, that would be the worst decision. It would have never, ever, ever worked, and I know that now. But it's really easy to interview somebody, and they're nice and they're friendly and you get along, and you think, oh my gosh, this could be really fun. And it should be fun. In the end, you do want it to be someone that you get along with, but ultimately, you're not hiring someone to chum around with all day. You're hiring someone to do a job and do it really well and grow your business. And if those things aren't happening,
Wow.
it was,
Yeah.
you hired the wrong person. And that happens. It happens to everybody. Steve?
I know in Career Vision, you talk about the DISC, D-I-S-C. Maybe you could all say what are the two highest in the D-I-S-C and what?
You know,
what
I
you're
know my
looking
two
for.
highest, I don't know Stacy.
Huh? I'm sure all of you are high D.
Actually not.
I am,
Maybe,
S and
really?
I think are my highest. Yeah. We did something recently, Stacy, Dawn and I did something, it was probably a couple months ago now, but it's it's not the KPA, it's not DISC, it's called Working Genius. Anybody ever heard of it? You should look into it. It's an assessment, but it was really interesting. And it was so interesting to see where Dawn and I fell and where Stacy fell. And there's a couple overlapping, but she and I are far more similar. And then Stacy is definitely, the opposite of us in a lot of ways, in the right ways, the ways that we need. But Working Genius is a way to figure out how you work well together. So it's more than just KPA or a DISC where you're sort of looking at yourself standalone. This actually takes your assessment and the people on your team and how you all work well together, where you can improve and what's missing. I thought it was fascinating.
And that confirmed that you hired the right people and you have the right
Totally.
team.
Yeah. And it also brought to light where sometimes there are disconnects that we work through, but we're like, oh, that's why sometimes we see things so differently. And we still talk about it. We use it in like one of our little weekly meetings and try to focus on some of that. So yeah, it was really interesting if you ever get the opportunity. We had Melissa Lombard came in and she had us do the assessment and then she came in and facilitated the conversation. It was really, really good.
So, you had mentioned some of the fear, one of the concerns is how we're gonna pay, concerned about making sure we pay the person. I just wanted to add real quick that after 90 days, in the MREA, Gary talks about, you either know if it's cul-de-sac talent, or what's the other word, I just looked it up, I can't remember. Versus capacity talent, meaning, like you had shared, Sarah, that after, even before 90 days, you realized she was capacity talent, meaning she was just gonna grab stuff and go and grow, versus sit and wait for instruction all the time. That's cul-de-sac talent. And the thing that I think that, kind of helps with the fear of it too is we're not considering it, hiring somebody and having the full year's salary ready and available. You're hiring 90 days out. And by then, you will know if you're going to be making more money, which frees up your time, which helps bring in more money. So it's really more of a, what's this first quarter of a year pay look like? And then from there.
When I hired Stacy, it was January of 2020, early January of 2020. Obviously, we weren't in the pandemic yet. I remember hitting when we got there, I was like, oh, just hired this woman, I'm gonna have to let her go. And obviously, I couldn't have survived the next couple of years without her. But when I hired her, I had 0 pending transactions, 0. And by the time we hit her 90 days, I think we were at like 18 in 3 months.
Wow. That's awesome.
That's really awesome. So just to put in perspective that fear, I hired her with just like, here goes, because I didn't have, other than some PC stuff, I had no actual real estate business.
There's no doubt that hiring somebody, they should be able to pay for their own salary in just a matter of months.
Yep.
For the whole year.
Yep.
No problem.
One of the things that I talked about was that when I first thought about, oh my goodness, I'm responsible now for somebody's livelihood. And it was scary, but at the same time, it made me up my game. I really realized, okay, I've gotta get out there and I've gotta find the next pieces of business, because it's not just me that is going to affect, it's my staff too. And it really does make you step it up, and then it's the accountability, you're accountable for other people and their families and their lives, and it makes you, I think, look at it more business-like than it is, so sometimes as you're an individual agent, you think, oh, what does it matter if I go and, not do something today or whatever? It just makes you treat it like a business. It's just up in your game.
Speaking of team, how about benefits? Because my son's actually doing some social media for us. He's not making bank or anything like that, but he's part-time and thinking about retirement stuff. I have stuff in other places or whatever, but nothing. We haven't been doing great with our own business for retirement. But what are you offering for benefits? Because if you do a SEP and then you add somebody for a SEP, good night, you might as well do your retirement somewhere else. But I know some people are doing bonuses, or they'll do, fun stuff, and I've heard even stuff about like investment property, share, different things like that. But what have you guys done with benefits?
I offer a stipend towards benefits, but I don't offer benefits.
Sure.
And then there is a bonus.
Bonus, okay.
I do bonuses, and as we do transactions, there's bonuses on the transaction. So it's a link to how we're doing.
The number one piece of advice that I took out of my career visioning class that I did is bonus the things that are most important to you in your business. And so that's what I've done my bonus structure on. I also do pay time off, even though their salary, like we have a number of days paid time off per year, certain holidays paid off. The only thing that I don't do from a benefit structure is health insurance, dental insurance, and retirement. But the bonus structure is set up in a way that there's the ability to make a ton of money in bonuses that you could then take and restructure that into taking care of health insurance, or some type of retirement benefits or whatever that might look like. I have thought about how I would structure that into the future. Like I would look at maybe potentially seeing what those costs could be and how I might be able to implement those.
Sure.
But time will tell what that looks like too.
Do you set up like a 401k thing for them, or?
Nope.
So Jen, how was the career visioning process so far?
Well, unfortunately, I couldn't take the class because it's only offered in March, right? So, and I didn't want to wait that long, so I'm career visioning through the process with Jamie. But it's great. It's been a real learning process, and it's very thorough, which is good. I'm hiring one of my dear friends, so there's always a lot of risk involved in that. She has all the talent that I need, and she just like fit the puzzle perfectly, so we're gonna go for it. So just having those things in place to really gauge tangible progress and what's expected, what the job description is, all of that is really important. So that's kind of what we're going through now, is making sure all that is in place. It's been good. Yeah, I wish I could have taken the class. I think that would have been helpful. But we're in a brokerage that, I just want to say, like, it is scary, but you're in a brokerage that supports your growth in that way, and you have like all these people that have gone through it before that are so willing to talk and help you through the process, and Jamie's there, so it's scary, but it's also very exciting. So I just want to encourage anybody that's thinking about it, you're in the perfect environment for jumping into something like that.
You just need to decide to do it and then go for it. It's
Yeah.
when you're in that thinking stage, it's just so easy to get overwhelmed and protect yourself.
But these guys are great, and they're just like encourage you to grow. So I just want to say like thank you for that too. Like just being around your company matters.
Aw.
One thing I would say too is I think a lot of people ask themselves when should I hire? And I think if you're a brand new agent, I think if you can get through 10 transactions on your own without any help and really understand, you know, all the things that you need to do to get through a transaction, anytime after that where you're considering, man, if I only had somebody helping me do this or that, how much more you could do, I think that's when you can really look at, you know, maybe it's time to look at help in your business and having somebody jump in there. I will also say that being able to go into like a listing presentation and say, I have a full-time person who does A, B, C, and D is going to give you an edge in that listing. I just had a listing presentation that I did a couple of days ago where I knew I was competing at least against 3 other agents. I pushed for an appointment early on, went to the listing appointment. One of the things that I talked about in my marketing piece of it was the role that my admin plays in the transaction and introducing them into it. It wasn't the piece that got me the listing, but they just called me yesterday and said, we canceled all of our other listing appointments that we had, and we're going with you. And we kind of talked about some of the pieces of why they decided to select me, and one of those pieces was having an admin assistant. Somebody that they felt like if they can't get a hold of me, they can get a hold of this person to get their questions answered. And that was a big thing for them. And it's a $950,000 listing. So it's one of those things where it's like, hey, if you want to start growing your volume too, like I think we can all agree that, you know, if we had the choice between something that was a $950,000 listing or maybe a $100,000 condo, you're gonna pick the $950 all day. So it's also about growing your volume too and getting past that kind of median sales price that we see in our area.
Nice.
Well, there's more questions, but we're out of time. I want to respect everyone's time. Thank you guys so much. One thing that's very important, we all should have, but what I admired about Bryce's decision, he went through all that effort to hire somebody, get right to the end of career visioning, but he also knew, he didn't just know what he wanted to have someone do, but he knew what the, pardon the word, integrity of what he wants to have for his business. And there was a little bit of a mismatch, and it was enough for him to make the right call. It would have been easy to push the easy button and just say, let's just go with this. And a lot of respect for that. So thank you all very much. We have, if you're cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, we have, what's going on?
I just told them to stay put because I need it for social.
Oh, okay, that's good. And we have Gary and Jason live here in an hour, so hope to see you back. Thank you all.
Awesome.
Thanks, Brianna.